Good morning, with Maria from Scotland. This video I wanted to show you how to do a nettle, stinging nettle long infusion and why you would do this. So the reason I'm going back to the long infusion is because I've just returned from being a few days away on holiday and I feel I've come back really quite run down, fighting a cold virus, and my body's obviously under stress. So I want to do the long infusion of the nettle, because when you do a long infusion, which takes about 8 to 12 hours, this is going to extract more of the minerals and vitamins from the stinging nettle compared to just doing an infusion tea where you steep it for maybe 10 minutes. So nettles are known as a powerhouse, high nutrient dense powerhouse, but they're also full of a plant protein as well. They're full of the iron. They've got vitamin C, which helps your body absorb the iron. There's lots of B vitamins in there, which help with our energy. There's vitamin K. There's what's all the other vitamins from the top of my head, I can't remember. They are known as a detoxer as well, really good for the kidneys. So what they help do is they work with your lymphatic system. So if you think of a pond that isn't moving, it's full of like algae and it's very stagnant, well, inside that can happen to us. You would call that like a bad blood. So what that means is there's stagnation, there's dampness. So what this does, the stinging nettle, it gets everything moving. So it's going to help move the blood, the waters. If you're suffering a lot of edema as well, that swollenness, that's going to help just flush everything out. It's going to really support the body, and especially because I've come back with a cold virus, my body's going to be using up the electrolytes and minerals a lot quicker. So this is going to really help this. It's going to help calm the inflammation. It's going to help, because I noticed I've got like acid reflux as well, which is connected to the virus swallowing that snot, and because of the inflammation. So this is going to really help just soothe this, coat it, calm it down. And how you do this, it is quite a large dose. So you would use, it's an ounce, so about 28 grams, which does work out a cup because I did weigh it earlier. So we get a cup of nettles. And we pour it into a big quartz jar, all the way in there. We have fresh boiling water. We fill it all the way to the top of the rim. And this isn't just going to be a once off. You can actually take this long term, and it's very good for people suffering with any sort of hay fever and allergies. And I can vouch for this because when I was pregnant and I ended up getting COVID, and my body went into this heat rash, and I remember coming out in welts. Went to the doctor, took an antihistamine, which calmed it down, took it away about 90%, but then I had a flare up a few days after I stopped taking the medication, which was about a week. I don't like taking medications. Went back to the doctor, he gave me another course, but I decided not to take it, so then I went to treat it internally with nettle, and it cleared it, fully cleared it, took it away, and I wasn't bothered with that heat rash irritation. So energetics, nettle is cooling. It's not overly cooling, it's cooling, it's dry. It comes under the salt taste, so it's very high in minerals. Nettle loves disturbed soil. It loves it where there's humans or there's animals. The bean, it just loves that area. It's very high in nitrogen, so it loves nitrogen rich soils. And when you do forage it, now is the time, April, sort of May, and nettle can grow about 6 feet. So when you are foraging it now, it'll be about maybe 1 to 3 feet tall. You would take the top 4 to 6 leaves, and when you wear gloves, take some scissors because of the wee spikes that are full of chemicals, and they irritate the skin because the wee sharp needles break off, and that's what causes that irritation. So back to the infusion. Put your lid on tight, and this will create a vacuum. So this is going to draw out all those minerals and vitamins, and they're not going to escape. So I will leave this in the counter for about 12 hours. I'll put it in the fridge when I go to bed. And because once you've had it infused for your 12 hours, because of its high protein content and mineral content, it can spoil quickly. So if you put it in the fridge, it will last you about 24 hours to 48 hours at the most. But ideally, you want to drink this just throughout your day. So I made one last night. You can see how deep green this is. So I've been drinking it all morning. Later on, I might reheat it in a pot gently just to have something warm. This one I'll do again. So what I'm going to try and do is drink this always, but I'm going to set myself a challenge that I'm involved in at the minute, and it's a 30-day challenge to drink the nettle infusion. And I'm going to see how I'm going to benefit from it, because I usually just have tea every day. But the things that I noticed with the nettle, and this is quite interesting, listening to and going over my coursework, where they do find that the nettle can help strengthen the urinary system. And a while ago, before pregnancy, I felt like I was urinating constantly all the time, and I wasn't drinking a lot of diuretics. So to me, I was urinating too much, and I started, when I was bringing in the nettle, I noticed that I haven't been urinating as much. And so I feel and think that that is strengthening all that system. And I think another thing, when you can urinate a lot, there could be something going on with your mineral content. So there's an imbalance. There was definitely an imbalance there, and I couldn't really shift it. I couldn't work with it until nettle. So to me, that was amazing, and definitely any skin issues as well. So what the great thing about the nettle is, it's very high in silica, so it's very good for strengthening the hair, the nails, very good for the skin. It's very good for the bones. It's a high mineral content. Because of its high mineral content, it's really great for the bones, so that high calcium. So what happens is, when people suffer in general, say a lot of eczema or skin issues, there's usually a problem going on with sort of stagnation, stuff going on in the liver. So this does help sort of cleanse that, because everything shows in your skin. So that's like one of the systems it shows in. So if you can work internally at healing yourself, that will get to the root of the issue. And nettle, there's a lot of herbs out there, but nettle is one of those top herbs, and it's so gentle. I like the taste of nettle. It's very earthy taste. You can add other things into it to change its taste, like nettle, or if you found that you were too dry, you can add there's marshmallow root you can add in there. You can add an oat straw as well. But if you can just incorporate nettle into your life in some way, even if it is just having a couple of cups a day, just your normal old-fashioned way. But I would encourage you, especially if you suffer with a lot of any skin issues or stagnation, you want help with your skin and your bones, inflammation, I'd encourage you to drink the nettle infusion and try it out for 30 days and see what you notice, because you could go into drinking nettle for one particular reason, but all these other things could happen. So that's what I wanted to show you today, and that is how green it looks. And just sipping it throughout the day is manageable, or if you would like to heat it up, do it gently. And that's what I wanted to share. So I hope that you get round to the nettle. It is the time to forage. I'm going to be foraging stuff, but this was stuff that I bought in. It was dried already. And when you make the infusion, it is better to use the dried leaf, because in that process of drying helps break down the internal walls, so the water is able to pull out those nutrients a lot more faster and better than it would be just your fresh. And if you were doing a fresh infusion, because there is a lot more water in it and it is fresher, you would need sort of double the amount. So if you can get your hands in some, in the meantime, some dried stuff, I'd go ahead and do that. And just remember that that cup of nettle into your mason, large mason, your quartz jar, and fill it up, boiling water, pour it, put the lid on, allow it to volume suction, leave it up to 12 hours. And then if you're not going to be drinking it straight away, just put it in the fridge and go back and forth drinking it. So there we go. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.